Yo, what up with it? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Hoodie. And before we get started, if you could do me a quick favor and tap that like button for your boy. And I want to give a big thanks to Ubisoft for hooking your boy up with early access to this private beta. Now let me start off by saying Skull and Bones is really not that bad. Once you stop comparing it to games like Assassin's Creed, Black Flag, and Sea of Thieves, and just accept it for what it is, it can be a lot of fun. From everything that I've gathered, it seems like the vision for this game changed multiple times throughout its development. But sometimes that's just how things go. Sometimes you get new project managers and new CEOs that take over companies, and visions for ideas just change over time. So just like most people, I was a bit disappointed a few months ago when I found out that there wouldn't be any land exploration or hand-to-hand combat. So I went into this with pretty low expectations, but I gotta be honest, I had a lot more fun than I expected to have. So in this video, I want to go over the good, the bad, and the ugly in Ubisoft's upcoming game, Skull and Bones. Now right off the bat, the very first thing that I noticed about this game was the visual quality. The graphics in this game are just amazing, all the way down to the little details. For example, if a ship explodes in the water, it sends ripples through the ocean. It definitely feels like they spent a lot of time on the water physics. Now granted, the ocean may not feel as deep as something like, say, Sea of Thieves, and the waves may not seem as large, but when you think about the more realistic art style of this game versus a more cartoony-ish art style of Sea of Thieves, it seems like a necessary cutback in order to have this more realistic art style. Even the wildlife looks great, the way that birds fly through the sails and over your ship, all the way down to the sharks and the crocodiles that attack if you come near them. I really like the acceleration, the braking, and the steering of the ships. It's smooth, responsive, and snappy all at the same time. Some people are saying that it feels arcadey, but I think that's fine. You know, not everyone wants to have to worry about lowering the sails, turning them to the left, turning them to the right. You know, it's just a lot more convenient to play this way, in my opinion. I think the character models and the customization looks great, especially the skin tone and reflections. For some reason, a lot of developers can't seem to get black skin quite right, so they definitely did a decent job with this one. They also introduced some pretty cool mechanics. For example, you have to cook and feed food to your crew in order to build your energy bar, aka your stamina, which then allows you to sail faster for longer periods of time. And I also really like the reload speed for the ship cannons. I was worried that we were only going to be able to shoot a couple of cannonballs before we had a cooldown, but nope, there is a slight cooldown, but overall you can fire a lot of cannonballs before you have to wait just a couple seconds before you can fire a lot more again. So it sucks that you can't actually walk around your ship, but I do like the different viewpoints. You can view it from third person, first person, and see the ship, or you can go into the crow's nest and have that viewpoint also. Matchmaking with friends worked really well. I know it seems like I shouldn't have to mention that, but you'd be surprised at how many developers actually managed to screw that up still in 2023. If I'm not mistaken, you can have up to 3 people in a gang. At first I wasn't too sure how it was gonna work. I wasn't sure if my friend would just take over a couple of cannons on my ship and leave his ship, but it turned out to be something similar to World of Tanks, to where when you're in the water, you are the ship, because when you board another ship, there is still no hand-to-hand combat. You can't physically board the ship. It's all done by the AI and your crewmates, which kind of sucks, but I'm not a developer. I'm not sure if that's something that had to be done for performance reasons or what, but I'm gonna get into that later on in the video. The inventory management was simple and easy. The different vendors were marked on the map, which made buying and selling of resources pretty convenient. I really like the variety of clothes, jewelry, and different outfits you can buy in the game, and the fact that they allow you to mix and match different pieces from different outfits to create your own is another plus for me. Now let's move on to the negatives that I got for Skull and Bones. So for starters, this game would benefit from a lot more exploration. They obviously have a lot of islands scattered around, and some islands you can actually step foot on, but so far I've only seen ports with vendors that all the other ports share in common. It seems like they intended for these islands to be explorable at first, but somewhere along the way that ended up changing. And being that we can't explore random islands, that means that we can't have treasure maps and treasure hunts, and what's a pirate game with no treasure hunts? It just doesn't make sense. And the fact that Ubisoft didn't implement any type of hand-to-hand combat is kind of mind-boggling to me, especially when we all know that they have plenty of combat systems from previous Ubisoft games. The fetch quest gameplay loop definitely needs to be reworked, but I'm gonna be honest, I kinda expected that coming from Ubisoft. But I will say I was pretty impressed with the amount of interesting cutscenes that we got in this beta. The map doesn't look super huge. I'm not sure if they're doing something similar to Starfield where they have different tiles of ocean that that you can kind of load into, but from what I saw when I zoomed out, it didn't look extremely big, and I don't think that it's procedurally generated. Farming resources feels weird and sometimes broken. I actually have to tap in the orange to make it land on the green, so they most definitely need to rework this or fix it or something, but honestly, I kinda don't like the system at all. Now, I only got to play about 6 hours of the closed beta, but I'm hoping that when the full game finally drops in February, that they have more of a variety of enemy types. So far, the only thing that I faced were sharks, crocodiles, and a couple of enemy ship factions. But I'm hoping that we can get maybe a megalodon, a giant squid, maybe some ghost ships, just something, some sort of variety and something to keep it interesting out on the ocean. I'm not sure if it's possible for them to add something like hand-to-hand combat this late in the game or actual physical ship boarding, but if they can figure out a way to implement those things, I think that they'd really be working with a special game, especially if they add land exploration. Like I said, I'm not sure if that's something that they can implement this late in the game, but if any developers out there happen to come across this video, please leave a comment down below and let me know if that's something that's possible or not. Hopefully they don't abandon it. Hopefully they take the Sea of Thieves route and just improve it over time, because that game looks nothing like it looked when it first released. This game has a lot of potential, but I find it kind of hard to justify that $70 price tag for what you're getting. To me, this seems more like a Game Pass type of game, and that's no disrespect to the developers or Ubisoft or whatever like that, but I just don't see enough content in the closed beta so far to justify paying $70 for this. But like I said, I did have some fun moments, so if you're someone who really enjoys pirate content and pirate themed and related things, you may really love this game. But I feel like if they really want to grab the attention of the average consumer, they're gonna have to implement a lot more content into this game. Enemy types, land exploration, hand-to-hand combat, these are things that should be a standard in pirate related games, but sadly in this one it's not. Hopefully by the time this game drops on February 16th, they can make some much needed changes to the game, but this close to the release date, I don't really see that happening unless they decide to push it back again. But like I always say, I would much rather a developer push their product back than to give us an unfinished game. Oh yeah, and one more thing, the dialogue options in this game mean absolutely nothing. I'm honestly not even sure why it's in the game. Like I stated earlier, it seems pretty clear that the vision for this game changed multiple times over the 10-year development cycle. But just to recap, this game definitely has a lot of potential, and if you give it a chance, you may actually find yourself having a great time with it. Even the weather system is pretty decent, but with the current gameplay loop and not being able to explore islands and not being able to board ships and no hand-to-hand combat, it definitely makes it hard to justify the $70 price tag. But if you can find this thing on Game Pass or get it used or get it on some type of deal or sale, definitely do yourself a favor and check it out. But that's all I got for y'all today, man. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that bell notification so you don't miss out on any future gaming videos. We almost at 1,000 subscribers and I genuinely cannot thank y'all enough, real talk. So make sure you tap that like button one time for the one time, and until next time, man, peace.